Alright, quick rundown. This is going to be the top 5 magic users. This is an older top 5, so expect there to be a few differences compared to here and the current top 5. So that's about it. And I'll see you all after the video.
So I'm going to start off with honorable mention. And I'm going to just mention the name. Have my quick piece because Ranger Swamp actually happened to pick the same honorable mention as me. And that's going to be Merlin. This particular Merlin is the Merlin from Sword and Stone Disney game.
Alright. My honorable mention is also Merlin.
Alright. So my number 5, we ready for my number 5, Ranger Swamp?
Yeah.
Alright, my number 5 is going to be Genie from I Dream of Jeannie. Now, Genie, spelled with a J, is also a genie, spelled with a G. She is all powerful. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. She was freed by her master, whom she loves very much. She's in my top 5. She does whatever the fuck she wants, whenever the fuck she wants.
Alright, so my number 5 gonna be from a pretty underrated anime in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's going to be the captain of the Black Bulls himself, Yami Tsukihiro from Black Clover.
Yeah, buddy.
And I'm gonna be honest, I had a tough time choosing this one because I knew I wanted at least one Black Clover character because the whole show is based on magic, and I didn't want to go with Asta because I felt like that would have been the obvious choice. Because
Asta would have been an obvious choice. Yeah.
And I wanted to go with a character that I figured I'm gonna go with the character whose magic actually puts him more at a disadvantage than anything because Yami is a dark magic user.
Yeah.
And his entire grimoire is based on dark magic, and the problem is dark magic's the slowest magic of all magic types.
Yeah.
And despite all that, Yami manages to be one of the most powerful captains of the Wizard Knights.
All right. So, moving on to number 4. This is from his name is Augustus. He's actually has died. This is from like I mentioned, one of the light novels that I've been reading for the Faraway Paladin. This is a manga as well, and I've seen that this has become an anime. So all right. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be known as the Warrior of Light. And for those that don't know, this is actually the very first protagonist of the Final Fantasy series. The reason why I chose the Warrior of Light is because he's probably, out of anyone in the Final Fantasy series, the strongest magic user. Because unlike most other games, he doesn't need special conditions to use magic outside of... the only thing he needs to do is switch his job to White Mage. And even though that sounds weird, in-game lore, it's takes 2 seconds for someone to switch from one class to another.
Yeah.
And as a mage, he's able to access any spell he wants, whether it is curing, destructive, such as fire, lightning, blizzard, water, air, and it's just limitless possibilities. And not only that, but as the Warrior of Light, as the name implies, he's the strongest light user. If it involves light, basically, if it's anything that involves the light, he's capable of using it to his advantage, whether it's protecting his teammates or being the shield that sort of draws all attention to him. He's kind of like a tank in that sense, where he's meant to be the shining light against the darkness.
Yeah.
And of course, he's just really adept at magic, and light magic is just his specialty, and anything that revolves around that. Outside of that, I don't know. The only limitation I guess he would really have is how much mana he would have.
Yeah.
But of course, by the time he becomes a Warrior of Light, he already has enough mana to last him through a battle. You could kind of consider his magic just sort of the most effective against darkness. He's like a light. He's like a flashlight. But imagine that flashlight was giant.
Yeah. What game was he in again?
He was in Final Fantasy 1, the very first one.
Okay. Wow. And did he help the other characters, or what did he like? What did he do?
He went to the Shrine of Chaos in Final Fantasy 1, fought a being known as Chaos with his light magic because he was a warrior chosen by, I don't know the god's name, but he was a warrior chosen by a god.
Gotcha.
And basically, he started off as just a nameless being. He had no memories or recollection of who he was, other than he was just chosen as this avatar to become the Warrior of Light. That was basically his existence. And so he basically continued to fight in order to gain the strength to become known as the Warrior of Light. It's pretty unfortunate, but here he is now. Very powerful being of light, capable of literally tanking large swords and just, blocking it with a very tiny shield, I might add. And just overall, I'd say doesn't have too many feats compared to some other characters. Because due to the fact that his game is very old. I still think the legacy he left is sort of how he was much more in tune with actual magic in comparison to some other fellow warriors of his.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I would have to look into that. I've never played Final Fantasy, the original or the first game. I know there's a lot of magic. I was very tempted to just add Cloud, but because Cloud has popped his face in a lot of our top fives, I left him out just because he does use magic in itself that you build up, but also the summoning that he does, which takes some magic, some MP off of you. So when we talk about video games or characters in video games, if they use some sort of magic, let's even say Sora. I was also tempted to use Sora, but again, that individual always pops up, so I said, let me stray away from that. Doesn't sound like this was a playable character.
He's a main protagonist.
Oh, he was the main protagonist?
Yeah.
So did he just fuck everyone up in the game then?
Yeah, he and his party basically went to the Shrine of Chaos, fought Chaos, and he fought someone who was trying to become Chaos. Turns out they were actually the previous Warrior of Light, so that was sort of an awkward situation. But yeah, he fights that guy. Then they actually go find Chaos and destroy him and freeing the land. Okay. But essentially, yeah, he was basically the chosen avatar.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You said that, and I just trying to prep for my number one as well, and I can't multitask. All right, I like it. I did not know about that, and obviously I'm not a super duper Final Fantasy fan, but I have played 7 and 8, a little bit of 9, 10. But is there any other picks before we go on to my number 3?
Little Prince did ask what about Prince Noctis from Final Fantasy 15? I was considering that choice. However, Noctis' magic's more linked to his warping, and his actual spells come from these little crystals. Noctis himself doesn't actually use the magic. He kind of condenses the elements into these catalysts. So I didn't know if that counted.
Well, does he use magic to attack though?
Yeah, I'd say that.
He's a magic user. So let's say I gave you a wand, right? And I gave you a wand, and that wand you're able to cast certain spells. That would make you a magic user, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, is Noctis pretty powerful then?
I would say yeah, he's pretty powerful. He's I have not played 15 in a long time, so I'm trying to think. But he's done some pretty impressive things. He's also able to, at any point, summon a weapon that he's at least owns in his arsenal. As long as at some point he's held this weapon in his hand and it's his, he can summon it at will.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Also, Love Prince's number 4 is he brings up Link from Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. I think I didn't pick Link just because Zelda tends to have him as a melee character, but obviously when he does his sword spin, that costs MP, right? When he does his sword spin and it sort of slashes around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he does use the what's the sword called again?
The Master Sword?
The Master Sword, yeah. And the Master Sword, he does travel in time. So he does use aspects of magic. I just don't think Link. I like the pick, but I think it's smart, especially with. How is it in Breath of the Wild? Because I don't remember. Does he use a lot of magic in Breath of the Wild?
Unfortunately, no. In Breath of the Wild, Link is less magical. Like, you know how Link always has a Triforce of Courage? He does not have that in this game. He's more of a sort of just a really skilled warrior.
Yeah, but does he use like the fire arrows, ice arrows? Do those cost magic?
No, they're kind of like they're special arrows that just come with the elements already attached to the arrow itself. Unfortunately, Link does not. The only thing I can say he gets from magic is when he borrows his friend's power.
Yeah.
Like, because the champions are, they're all ghosts and they're dead, so they basically give him their power. And
yeah. Okay. All right. I like Link, especially when you're playing Ocarina of Time. That magic ability, especially when you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies. Boom! I think they sort of shortchange that magical ability, and they should buff it to other uses, similar to how Sora uses it, or similar to how it sounded like Final Fantasy dude uses it, where it sort of it helps kill. And I think Zelda, the game, the whole Zelda series, does not allow that for one reason or another. But yeah, I would definitely consider him. I did consider him briefly, but I knew it just seemed like it was very limited in what you can do. So that's why I didn't pick him.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go on to my number 3 unless you had anything else, Rangers.
We got McNuggets with Skinwalkers. I don't know if that counts as fictional.
Well, it was in the video game Beyond Two Souls, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and the fact that it does have some lore, and it is a lore, not real life. It is part of the lore. And then I do like that pick. It is a little off the beaten path. Okay.
Oh.
Well, McNuggets is on some.
All right. Well, I think he's cursing us at this point.
He's I don't.
yeah. I agree with Little Prince. I'll claim this negative energy. Nope. We are not.
Yeah.
Look, we ain't a part of this. Take McNuggets, not me.
Yeah, I know. I like it. I do like that. I do like it. I thought he would have went more with like from Trece, from old girl. I forget what her official title is. Oh my god, I'm so forgetful. But I thought he would have went with that, but he went with the lore. I do like the pick. It is kind of spooky, and I know that it was in Beyond Two Souls, and yeah. Claim your free crosses.
Claim your free crosses.
Okay, so moving on. My number 3, we'll jump right to number 3, is going to be the man in the red suit, Santa Claus. And you know why I picked Santa Claus? Because everyone eventually everyone's like, fuck, I shouldn't have messed with Santa Claus.
My number 3. Drum roll, please, because this series has its own sort of a legacy. This is the grandfather of all RPGs. And I think this hero illuminates that. Yeah. He goes by the Luminary, and he's the main hero of Dragon Quest XI.
Okay.
And the reason why I chose this particular hero has to do with the fact that in his... Basically, unlike a lot of, characters, all his magic is naturally his own skill, and a lot of his abilities are actually quite impressive. So, and despite the silly names, they're actually really powerful spells.
All right, moving on to number 2, and for whatever reason, Ranger Swamp, I keep calling this person Katana, and I know there's a Katana in the universe, I think in the Marvel universe, if I'm not mistaken, but this is Zatanna. This was Lady Jinx number 3. I placed her at my number 2, and I don't know why I keep calling her Katana. It's Zatanna. She is a magician. She gets this power from her father. I guess it's inherited. Any words she speaks backwards becomes a power, becomes the truth. The only weakness for her, basically, is she gets tired.
So my number 2 is going to be the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And the reason why I picked this individual is because, let's be honest, when anything goes wrong that you cannot handle on a, normal scale, you always call Doctor Strange. Whenever there's some strange business going on about. And I guess the current story arc for Doctor Strange in the new movie is going to be about the multiverse. And that kind of shows what kind of character this is. This is the type of person you go to when there is multiverse troubles. This is the type of person you go to when you need to travel through different dimensions. And, when there's crazy stuff going on, demons are involved, there's magic and stuff. Doctor Strange is the guy you can rely on,
One for me is Maleficent. Sit back and relax, people. I'm gonna tell you why. Here's why. You want to know my future wives? And I could date either one of them, by the way. The original Disney one, or the one that you're seeing on your screen right now, played by Angelina Jolie. Because she has style. And when a woman has style, that makes up for the scary witch looking in the horns. It just does, in my opinion. Teleportation. It's capable of transporting herself from one place to another with the wave of her staff. Teleportation. Number 1. Ursula can't do that shit. She get a tentacle stuck in the other location and be like, what? Why do I only have 4 limbs instead of the full 8? Elemental manipulation. She's able to fuck with fire as defense. She can shoot electricity. You know how quick electricity is? Quick enough to get here and back, I'll tell you that much.
And now, I think good to move on to my number 1.
Yep.
This one is probably going to be a pick I don't think many people are going to expect. This is going to be John Constantine from the DC Universe.
Didn't Lady Jinx mention this, though?
She did mention him, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought of Constantine.
Yeah.
And the reason why I mentioned Constantine is because when I first was introduced to him, it was because of the TV show. And I thought, okay, he's a cool guy, but he didn't really seem like he do many spells until I see the full extent of what John Constantine is capable of. And the only reason why we don't see him just going spells blazing is because John Constantine just relies on his wit. He relies on his ability to quickly think himself out of a situation without relying too much on magic. But he's able to basically do your average dark magic. He's capable of necromancy, summoning demons, making contracts, and using spells that allow him to be impervious to physical and magical attacks. he's also capable of time travel in some cases. And not only that, but if John Constantine dies, his soul can't go anywhere, so he just returns back to his body.
And that's it for now. This is going to be the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.